Today we're talking about studying in Korea and the expectations versus realities of it. Honestly, I lived in Korea for so long that I don't really know what the expectations really are anymore. Like, the fantasy that people have around studying in Korea feels so far away from my reality that I even forgot those exist. But then I'll be scrolling on TikTok or YouTube and I see these super romanticized edits and videos of Seoul, of like these cute cafes with lo-fi music and cherry blossoms, and these like exchange students studying cafes and just vlogging their little aesthetic life in Seoul. Not gonna lie, I'm guilty of that myself. I've done that a couple times. But then I realized, oh yeah, that's what people think that university life in Korea is like. But let me tell you, you have a distorted view of reality if you really think that that's what university life in Korea is like. So today I'm going to give you the real perspective of somebody who actually has lived in Korea, not just for one semester, but for years. So buckle in while I'll give you a little reality check. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. And if you're new here, my name is Vicky and I share all the good, all the bad, and everything in between. So let's get into it. Let's start with the obvious one, the K-drama excitation. People love to imagine like falling in love after you dropped your books carrying up a staircase, or having aesthetic study dates under the cherry blossoms and wearing perfect fits every single day, having professors who are super terrifying or like extremely handsome and there's just like no in between, and just lots of dramatic tension. But girl, let me tell you, the reality is that you're in a hoodie running on 3 hours of sleep, yet you're still late to class because you didn't even want to wake up in the first place. And yes, the cherry blossoms are there, but you're not in the mental space, or you don't have the mental capacity to appreciate them because you have 2 group projects due and a midterm next week. Seoul is very beautiful, yes, but the beauty becomes just kind of a background noise when you're so stressed. And if one thing's for sure, it's that Korea is a country that runs on caffeine and academic stress. So don't let the aesthetic TikToks fool you. The aesthetic does not cancel out the suffering. The second expectation that many people have is that you will instantly make Korean friends. This one is often the biggest shock for the international students. Like, people like to think that they're going to just show up and suddenly make a bunch of Korean best friends who are going to take them to karaoke and then teach them all the drinking games and all the food culture and then mentally support you through exam season. But the reality is that Korean students go home on the weekends and holidays. Like, they just disappear. And then you're left alone in the campus, just sitting there and wondering, okay, like, what's next? And don't get me wrong, this is not because Koreans are mean or closed off. It's mostly just a cultural structure. Usually, Koreans have built-in networks from like family, from high school, from middle school, from army, from church, clubs, and after-school activities. So by the time they make it to university, the friendships are already established and deep. Also, I don't think that people realize that even Koreans find it difficult to make friends as adults. So I promise, you're not the problem. It's just the social architecture of the country. And as a foreigner, you're essentially starting from zero. No family, no high school friends, no networks, and you're also navigating a country with a new language and new social norms that you have to adjust to. It's like playing life on hard mode. So what ends up happening? The international student bubble. You end up making a bunch of international student friends and you're stuck in this bubble, which is great. It's safe, it's friendly, it's comforting. But you do end up missing out on a lot of language and cultural learning. So you're low-key living in kind of a parallel Korean that most Koreans don't actually get to experience. The third expectation that people often have is that studying abroad is super chill. People imagine that studying abroad is like having a vacation with some homework sprinkled on top. You know, exploring, traveling, cute cafes, 2 a.m. deep conversation, making a bunch of new friends, having cute little summer flings. Oh, also the big famous Korean glow up that everybody, including me, talk about. And yes, those things do exist. However, the reality is that studying in Korea is hard. The exam seasons are brutal. In Korea especially, the attendance matters a lot, so you cannot skip school. And the workload is heavy. There's lots of group projects and presentations and exams and written papers and all of that at the same time. The Korean school year or the semester is pretty short. It's like 3.5 months. So you have midterms and finals, and all of the exams and papers and everything happen all at the same time because, you know, Korean schedule just loves to test your emotional stability. During my first year of university, caffeine became my one and only personality trait and also source of survival. survival. Like, especially during midterm and final exams, you're studying in cafes, and yes, those cafes are aesthetic with mood lights and, you know, all the pretty decorations and cute drinks. But you're also writing a bunch of essays while mentally calculating how many exams you have left to prepare for and whether it's worth drinking another ice americano at 9 p.m. And spoiler alert, most of the time it is. The fourth expectation that many foreign students have is that you will be eating a lot of good food. Now, this is true for the most part, but you cannot be eating out every day. You will have to cook. And this is such an underrated thing that not many people talk about, but cooking in Korea in the beginning is really hard. The ingredients that you get at the store are just different from your home country, and also the seasonal fruit and seasonal vegetables are also very different and they taste different. And even if you find the same brands and same ingredients that you have in your home country, they will just have a different flavor. So no matter if you cook food from your home country, the food will just taste different. So yeah, the first time you go to a Korean grocery store, you will probably be like, where is literally everything? But at the same time, the opposite happens. You end up discovering a bunch of delicious stuff and realize that you like things that you didn't even know existed. But yeah, the cutesy Pinterest cooking era does take a while to load up, and it does get very expensive if you don't pay attention and don't know how to shop seasonally. The fifth one is kind of complicated to explain as an expectation, but usually you don't expect to get sick. But the thing is, in Korea, the air quality is so bad that a lot of foreigners going to Korea, they get allergies or just get sick because of the poor air quality. This one shocked me especially because I grew up in a country where the air is very, very clean and we just take it for granted. I've never even thought about pollution. And then in Korea, especially during the winter months when the air is dry, the fine dust just hits so hard and you get sore throat, dry skin, headache, and all sorts of health issues. Like, I literally thought I had a cold for like 4 months straight when I first moved to Korea. But that was just dust. The sixth expectation that many international students have is that life will feel exciting forever. This one is kind of disappointing, but your everyday life becomes everyday life even if you're in Korea. And I feel like this is one of the biggest expectations people have when moving abroad to any country really. They just expect their life to be so exciting and so full of adventure every single day. And it's normal because you're in a new country, everything is new, everything is different, and you do get this like honeymoon phase of the constant high. But the reality is, as I said, everyday life becomes everyday life. Eventually, you will get very lazy to wake up for class, you repeat the same routines, you go to the same convenience stores, you see the same faces all of the time, you end up eating the same kimbap like 5 times a week because that's the only thing you can afford for dinner, because being an international student is expensive and you will be struggling with your budget. Don't forget that. You will get annoyed at the subway being full of people, and you will get used to all of the beauty shops and skincare and K-pop all around you, because it just becomes background noise when you see it every single day. The fantasy fades eventually, and that's just the reality, and you will be left with just living your life. But I think it's kind of beautiful actually, because that's how you know that this place has actually become your home. Another expectation that I put on there is actually one that I had, and it's that moving abroad will fix everything. People don't often say this out loud, but I believe that a lot of other students also expect this. They have this secret hope that they will go far away and it will fix all of their problems. And listen, moving abroad does change you a lot. It matures you a lot faster, and it forces you to be independent in a way you would never be if you were just staying at home. But the thing is, you cannot run away from problems. Your brain will come with you, no matter where you go. Your patterns, your habits, your insecurities, your mental health, it will all follow you no matter where you go. Your body, your mentality, it all goes together. And hear me out, life is challenging no matter the country you go to. It's just that the flavor of the challenge changes a little bit depending on which country you're in. So, the big question, should you study in Korea? My very, very honest answer is that if the pros outweigh the cons, you should absolutely study in Korea. It can be meaningful, transformative, and absolutely enjoyable. Korea is an amazing place to be young, I believe. It's relatively safe, it does push you for growth, it's a beautiful country and a very stimulating one, and it's also very convenient and fun. But just don't expect all of the K-drama stuff, you have to expect real life, because real life has nuance and texture and boredom and loneliness and joyful moments, lots of routines, lots of stress, and sometimes magical moments. The important thing is that they all push you for growth. And I think those things are way more valuable than living in a fantasy land. So if you're thinking of studying in Korea, do it with an open mind and not with a very romantic script. Life is life, life will happen no matter the country you live in. And if you already studied in Korea, or if you're currently in Korea, tell me down in the comments your experiences and your reactions reality, and I just want to see how it's different from mine and maybe different from the expectations that others have. And if you've never been to Korea, let me know the expectations you have and I will tell you if they are true or not. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.